Hello, welcome to Politics As Usual with the Alternate. This is episode 6. We have a special guest with us today.
My name's Harry.
I'm Mohsin, as always.
And I'm Ayub. Right, so what's on the agenda today? There's some stuff been going on with Jeremy Corbyn in the House of Parliament, or the Houses of Parliament. In particular, it was in the House of Commons.
Well, there's actually been a few things going on, hasn't there? What happened earlier on was he was giving a speech in the Parliament House, and he said something along the lines that I've met some socialists in Europe, and he's kind of explaining his experience. And while he's talking, everybody's just jeering him. They're all booing him from the Conservative side, just not letting him speak. So every now and again he's pausing, just waiting till everyone's sensible. So he gets to a point where he says, I met some socialists in Europe, and what they said to me is, and then everyone's booing, and somebody says, who are you? And everyone just cracks up laughing at it. It's actually funny. It is a little funny, but then you just think, well, the guy's trying to say something. He's the leader of the opposition. You're booing him, you're jeering him. The opposition can do the same thing every time, David Cameron tries to speak, but the reason they don't is because they want to question David Cameron, because he would love for the opposition to do that.
Yeah, so in other words, they want to have a constructive debate. Or they want to get somewhere.
The opposition wants to actually do something to question what's going on, and the ruling party, the Tories, don't actually want that to happen. And what happened later was the whole wear a proper suit situation, which made more media. There's actually some context to this. I'll read out the quote and I'll explain the context. What happened and what got the media's attention was David Cameron said, I think I know what my mother would say. I think she would look across the dispatch box and say, put on a proper suit, do up your tie and sing the national anthem. And then everyone starts jeering, and everyone's like, "Oh, yep, he needs to put on a suit. He needs to, all this." But there's a whole background to this which it was neglected. What happened maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks earlier was in the local ward of David Cameron's mother, there was austerity measures which were affecting the local NHS service and the children's health service there. There was some special children's health service which was going to be shut down due to lack of funding. So she signed a petition to the government to say, fund this service. And so obviously the media picked up on that, saying, look, it's David Cameron who's put the austerity measures into place, and his own mother is saying, don't put austerity measures into place because you're affecting people. So Angela Eagle, she's a MP from the Labour Party, she made a comment. She said something like, what would your mother say? And so Cameron was responding to that. So something patronising. In my opinion, it was playground politics on both sides. The Labour Party should not have brought up his mother, and he shouldn't have said what he said either.
About his clothing.
And it's just, it's patronising all around.
Yeah, it's interesting to see some of the aftermath and debates on Facebook and on social media around it. So people saying, yeah, but look at him, he's scruffy, as if that matters.
Well, what the media picked up on, they gave, the PMQ that week, they gave victory, they declared victory for David Cameron. He won it because of his jibe. He won it because of, it's like swearing at someone.
Well, the worst thing is for me about the general public and even the media is when it comes down to these playground politics, everybody's sucked in by it. And like I say, all of a sudden, David Cameron's won the debate because he made such really a nonsensical comment when it comes down to context. There's no need for it, and we all know why he said it, and he's got a reaction, and all of a sudden he's won, which really makes no sense to me. It's like I don't know, it just doesn't.
And what it did is it took attention away from the actual issue. What Corbyn did straight after was, his response to it was, if we're talking about motherly advice, my late mother would have said, stand up for a health service free at the point of use for everyone. Because the conversation was about the NHS health service is being defunded, it's not being properly funded, and there's a plan from the Tory party to actually privatise the whole NHS and they're already starting to give some of the services to private healthcare companies, etc. And Corbyn he kind of tried to bring it back to that, but none of the media actually picked up on the actual point. All they picked up on was, look, he mocked his suit.
You know what's interesting here? Just a side point actually before I move on to that. He talks about good suits. Do you know how much David Cameron's suit costs?
How much?
Probably a hair swap. It's quite a lot.
£3,500 is a tailor-made suit from Savile Row.
£3,500.
For one suit?
Yeah.
And how many of these suits does he have? That's the question.
Yeah. Prime Minister's salary is something like about £250,000
yeah.
per annum. So I mean, he can't afford it, but he can't afford to be buying these suits week in, week out. And obviously,
what happened to austerity measures?
There's obviously no austerity measures in his household. That's for sure.
Anyway, the other point I was going to make is the aftermath of this on social media. You see people agreeing with the fact that he is scruffy, right? They're making a big deal of it. Look at him; he should be making a better effort. What I do personally to that is I iron a nice shirt, put my tailor-made suit over the shirt on a hanger, and I post the hanger, and I send it to Parliament and say, there you go, speak to the suit.
Well, actually, I saw somebody write an article and they said Jeremy Corbyn looks like a geography teacher who's trying to dress like Mr. Bean. No, but the whole article, at the end of the article, it was very pro-Corbyn because he said, or the author, I think it was a female, she said that I would rather somebody dress like a geography teacher who talks about the actual issues than somebody dressed like a runway model or what have you, dressed very crisp, etc., but who just ignores the issues and just tries to get his own agenda through without talking about it.
I think the point of the suit is a valid point, because you're in the eye of the public, you've got to dress a certain way, come across in a certain way. Especially with people who are trying to get into politics like myself. I'm not really deep into politics like you two are. You see someone dressed like that, I won't say it kind of puts you off, but sometimes it makes you question their mentality, I think. From my point of view anyway. But to bring it up in Parliament in the way that David Cameron did, I think is wrong.
It depends on who you're trying to connect with. Right? Because you have to remember that the leaders have to connect with the majority of people.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Now, that image, tailor-cut suits, pristine image, that's only that 1% of the population.
Do you think?
Tailor-made suits. If I wanted to...
That level of
tailor-made suit.
Right. I think the clothing he actually wears is very measured and it's very deliberate. He's actually trying to kind of not stick it to the man, but at the same time he's kind of trying to stick it to the man to say, look, we don't have to conform to what your opinion of a politician is, because he's very different to what politicians are anyway. Even his own backbench is very kind of what they call moderates. They are kind of centre right even, whereas the Tories are right wing, and he's very left wing. He's very socialist, so he's against the grain anyway. So he dresses against the grain as well, just to show, look, I'm normal. I'm not with this elite kind of.
It's about being anti-establishment.
Yeah.
Right. But having said that, I can see where you're coming from in that dressing good is obviously a good thing. Right, but it varies from different personalities. Some people just aren't bothered by the way they dress, and I think for other people, for them to be concerned by how a person dresses as opposed to the content of their character, then that's an issue.
Shall I be? I'll be honest. I'm a bit of a geek, so I watch PMQ every week on YouTube, and I've subscribed to the channel, and I watch it all the time. And I've seen Jeremy Corbyn get up, question, David Cameron or whatever, multiple times. He's always dressed a certain way. Yeah. To this day, I'd never noticed that he dresses different. Not once had I noticed that he dresses different to the way somebody else dresses in the Parliament. He's not dressed the same as everybody else. And the reason I hadn't noticed because it's not a fashion show, and I'm not paying enough attention.
It has no importance in the matter.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I'm not watching that to see how they are dressed. If I was, if I was watching, some runway show, then obviously you're paying attention to how somebody's dressed. But that's not the point here.
The other interesting thing that I observed is in the debates on Facebook and Twitter, etc. The people who are brought up the fact that it's not the dress that counts, but it's what he's saying. And policies and connecting with people is people that matter. the response that comes back is, what policies? Doesn't have any policies.
Who does Corbyn doesn't have any policies?
Yeah, Corbyn is. So that's what they'll then bring up as a counter argument,
Right.
which is interesting given that they brought up the whole bloody thing about the dress
Just to divert
from policies.
Yeah. Yeah, I you know what? If there's anybody who's kind of hammered his policies down the throat of the British public, it's Jeremy Corbyn. He's been very clear where he lies. He's been very clear that he's a socialist. He's been very clear that he plans to bring some privatized services back into public ownership when he becomes Prime Minister, etc. And the only reason he was actually voted as the leader of the Labour Party has nothing to do with how he dresses, has nothing to do with him looking like a geography teacher or whatever it might be. It has everything to do with his policies. And that people actually resonated with the message he was trying to deliver. So for anybody to say, he's not talking about policies, whatever, either they are completely ignorant or they are biased. It's one or the other.
Yeah, but then David Cameron get questioned about his dress sense as well not too long after.
Probably did, but
I'm sure he read it somewhere.
he does look a bit like a creep, to be honest. But I mean,
But like a what?
a bit like a creep, at times. Maybe that's just the photos that you see sometimes where people, satirise him and the like, which is good.
Yeah, well, one thing to actually talk about is the fact that the NHS is being privatised by the Tory party. It's not really being brought up a great deal. And what...
I was walking in the hospital the other day because
Okay.
my dad was in hospital recently, and I noticed a door that was sealed off. It said private patients only.
Okay.
I thought, okay, never seen that before.
Yeah.
And it all looked nice and pristine, and I thought,
Yeah, that's
the
just...
average Joe walking past.
Yeah, that's just...
I'm not allowed
it's
in.
really weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why, if we are... It's a national health service, everybody's contributing towards it, yet there's special care for some people. But the other thing is, why are they trying to pull funding from the NHS? Why are they trying to privatise it? The fact of the matter is that a lot of the Tory MPs have some special interest in private health services. They probably own some percentage of private health services. If they don't, then they are stupid not to, because they know that everything's moving towards private services. It's being privatized. Therefore, if you're going to invest money into somewhere, you invest your money into private health services, because that's where money will be diverted. Now, one of the other issues is with the NHS, what's going on is people are starting to complain a lot. They're saying, I went to the hospital, and I went to the emergency room, I was there for 8 hours. Remember me and Harry, actually, Harry wasn't feeling too well, and we ended up being in the A&E for about 8 hours. No joke, we literally counted, oh my god, we've been here 8 hours by the time we got out. And there was a whole bunch of people who were like really badly hurt. Can you imagine being there for 8 hours? What will happen is, once the NHS is defunded and it becomes privatised, we will not only at the point of service, at the point of care, we will have to pay from our own pockets, but also some of our tax money will be used to subsidise those services as well. The same way the British Railways, which were privatised, are being subsidised by the taxpayer. So, I mean, the whole thing, we're going to end up having to pay twice as much as we currently are via our taxes to get normal health service. And that's not even to mention that some parts of the NHS have already been privatised, and some care you can actually get via the NHS. So I think it's time for the British public to actually start paying attention to what's going on before it's too late.
Fine, so you raise it.
Yeah.
Now, people will naturally say, well, it's Jezza the answer. It's Jeremy Corbyn the answer.
Yeah.
They're going to say, well, what's his policy on that? So I think one of the things people are expecting is some detailed plans, if they're going to, number one, actually read the plan,
Yeah.
and then number two, understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't need to give a detailed...
He doesn't need to
plan on
give a
anything.
detailed plan, but the problem with Jeremy Corbyn, at least come out to the public and say something.
Yeah.
He's like a hermit. He just stays in his house or something, and just comes out once a week for to attend the parliament. Or so he's not really out in public enough. I think he needs to.
Yeah.
They need to make use of social media.
Why do you think that is?
They need to make you. I think my theory is that they wait until about a year and a half, 2 years before the election, and then they can start coming out into the public. They don't want to oversaturate.
You think that's going to be too little too late?
Nah.
Could be.
No.
It could be.
Consider the media have already said David Cameron won that when he made that comment.
Yeah, I mean, the campaign that's underway.
No,
now.
you know what? We have a very short memory. As a public, we have a very short memory, and we'll forget about all this other business. I'm sure there was stuff like this going on like just last month, and we've just forgotten about it because something new happened. As an example, look at the American election cycle.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who Bernie Sanders was. Nobody knew what's his name? Donald Trump was going to run. Look now. Just within like a few months, they've got so much traction. You won't believe. Just from about May last year to today, the polls for Bernie Sanders, they were giving absolutely zero chance to win. Hillary had it in the bag, and now like they're neck and neck. And some of the polls have Bernie Sanders winning the nomination, and this is from May till today. So where's all this?
All right, so that's one thing. But then I can also say he says one thing, one time, and then he says another thing, and seems to go back on what he said. I'll probably ask what people say about him.
I think people are just buying into establishment media.
I haven't noticed it, if I'm going to be honest. I haven't noticed it.
You haven't noticed what?
That he's doing this.
Because, you know why? You're not reading BBC and you're not taking literally.
Yeah.
You're reading from multiple. You're taking from multiple sources, aren't you? Are you watching the BBC News at 10?
No.
Every night. A lot of
waste of time.
Right, exactly. a lot of people are getting their news from the BBC at 10, News at 10 or whatever, or Sky News at 10. So all politicians have to do, make sure you know the boss of the producer of that BBC show. Make sure you know the boss of or the producer of that Sky News show. So the Tory party, all they have to do is listen. Make sure it's in our favour. We look after you when you need to be looked after as well. That's how it all works. That's how establishment media works. And they have controlled a certain faction of the media, a lot of the mainstream media in the UK. So a lot of the news is no longer on mainstream media. You have to go to the source itself, as in look at what was said in Parameter Questions, watch the whole thing, half an hour or whatever it might be, and then check out other sources like this podcast as an example, or other news outlets.
Somebody mentioned something interesting around media to, John Pilger.
Oh yeah.
And
Pilger.
Yeah, Pilger. I always pronounce it either or. So they asked him if he had any opinion on media ownership. So the person asked said, it seems neither elected government nor corporate stroke shareholder are models which ensure effective media. In the last general election, there wasn't a single column inch devoted to the Snowden stroke NSA GCHQ debate, nor were any of the political parties drawn into giving the electorate a clear manifesto pledge on what they intend to do about it. I view this as an example of a failing media system.
Right.
So the answer was interesting. The media system is not failing. In its present form, dominated by corporations and oligarchs like Murdoch, is succeeding in what it was set up to do. Reflect the interests of its owners. This, of course, has nothing to do with the free press.
With the what, sorry?
With the free press.
Oh, okay.
It's very interesting.
So you remember when the whole Black Lives Matter movement started? I remember seeing some people holding up placards that said, "The system isn't failing, it was rigged this way."
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's the way it was built. It's built to do, and it is doing exactly what it was built to do. It's doing exactly what it was funded to do. And so if you go back in time and look at the kind of like the start of propaganda, where did propaganda start? Around the First World War, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but at that time the press was very free, and there was even when law came into place initially, when TV became prominent, there was rules that every TV station needs to show the news at such and such a time, and it doesn't matter if they're losing money, because a lot of TV stations said, look, we're going to lose money, we'll be charged for advertising money, we get paid, whatever, said we don't care, it's become law. But then news becomes so profitable that you've got CNN, Sky News, Fox News, blah 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 blah. How many news channels have you got? They're making, not only are they making millions and billions of dollars and pounds, but they are influencing the way people think. So it's really time for people to start realizing that they've been brainwashed and start moving away from that brainwashing.
What do you think it's going to take for people to realise that, though?
I think, you know, when you...
First of all,
I
do
was
you even
looking-
think it's possible for people to realise?
It is. You have
Of course
to
it is.
counter brainwash.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
I mean, number one is people should be making an effort in and of themselves, if they're interested in knowing what the truth is, to go out and find reliable sources. And there are plenty of reliable sources, and more and more of them are coming up. But they're competing with, you know, a multi-billion dollar industry,
Yeah.
and that's not easy.
So, you know, Twitter came around, and a lot of the unfortunate revolutions in the Middle East, it was all social media that kind of sparked it, because in the Middle East, the media was pretty much, you know, as an example, let's take Egypt. It was run by a dictator. If he doesn't want something on the news, it's not on the news. Because he just sent his army over and they'll say, you're not putting that on the news, okay boss, we won't put it.
Yeah.
So, but what happened is with social media, they kind of organised this whole protest at Tahrir Square, and you know, like they overthrew a government via the power of social media. Now, because social media is so new, people are actually aware of how do you control the polemic on social media, how do you control the thought in social media. And what started to happen is a lot of these establishment media outlets, what they've got is they're gearing their content towards social media. And I've been noticing this lately, especially in the last maybe month or so. They've changed a lot of what they're talking about, and they're gearing it towards social media. So some policies and some of the things that they're talking about is pro-liberal. So it's the way the world is moving towards liberalism. So they are very pro-liberal in some things, but when you read those things, you will also think, oh, I recognize that outlet. But then when they're talking about politics, which is what they care about, that's suddenly pro-establishment. It's not pro.
But the point is, the traditional channels of media output are dead. The TV, radio. Radio still, to some extent, it has some life in it, I guess.
It's not yet dead.
Not yet.
With the millennials.
No, if you're like me,
Yeah.
and you're just thinking about, you know, thinking ahead, then it's dead. You have to be on the latest, on the best platform. In my kind of mindset, and that's social media. Now, there's still a lot of people who are to learn the ins and outs of social media. We're learning it. This is a learning process for us with what we're doing here. And I think at least for the small guy, social media is a huge, really powerful tool. I mean, look at what's been exposed in the States around the police brutality against black people is via social media. All of a sudden, we have the technology to film an event and put it straight on the internet. Within seconds.
I remember back in the early 90s when NWA had that whole, like, you know, the police brutality and whatever, and then so the media was saying, oh, there's no police brutality, these are lying. And then I think in 1991 or something like that, somebody filmed a young black man getting beat senseless by the police. You remember, it's a really, and that sparked the LA riots. And can you imagine who managed to film at that time? The cameras were probably like, you know, as big as your forearm type of thing at that time. So somehow somebody managed to film it, and it got
Rodney
out.
King.
That's it, Rodney King it was, And so after that, it sparked LA riots. Now, the difference between that and now is you've got your camera in your pocket. And so what was going on before is people were seeing it, people were catching it. Therefore, to lie about it and say it's not going on was very easy. It's not so easy now.
Anyway, now that we're talking about the States, let's talk about a bit what's going on there. So I was doing my regular browsing off the Tinterweb, and I came across, I can't remember who wrote the article, but it was one of the main news sources, and they were saying, they were criticising, what's that guy called again, Trevor Noah.
Oh yeah,
Trevor Noah, the Daily Show, the new host of the Daily Show. And they were talking about how he's been getting a lot of flack, but then they praised him for coming up with something new to say about Trump. Right. They praised him for coming up with a new angle about what Trump did on that particular day or week. And I thought, wait, so that sort of implies that talking about Trump is getting boring. And people are just hearing the same thing again and again about Trump. So, is there a move now to stop talking about him?
No.
Should we? Should we? I mean, it is the same stuff that we're saying about him.
Yeah, it is, but his whole campaign, it's all based on just being a complete idiot, being very controversial, and getting in the news cycle. And what happened recently, there was a debate, and on the Republican side, and somebody called Marco Rubio, who came in second place, I think, or third recently in one of the primaries, he absolutely destroyed Donald Trump on stage. He said, look, this guy makes no sense, he just repeats himself. And then Trump said something, he goes, yeah, here he goes again, he's repeating himself, What happened is Rubio got destroyed by a guy called Chris Christie for this very thing a few weeks prior. So he used the same tactic against Donald Trump, and the whole audience were in tears, like they were just laughing their heads off at Donald Trump. He didn't know what to say because he's just not smart enough. But what happens the next day is Donald Trump gets Chris Christie, who's dropped out of the election. He's a New Jersey governor or whatever in New Jersey. He got him because the news cycle would have been dominated that day. The very next day would have been dominated by Donald Trump getting embarrassed.
So he endorsed him or something like that.
Yeah, and so Chris Christie, on that day that he was about to be embarrassed in the news cycle, Donald Trump gets Chris Christie to endorse him, and that becomes a news story that day. So everybody forgets how badly embarrassed
He's
Donald
not as
Trump
dumb as people think he is then.
He's not. He's a lot smarter than people think. If you put him in front of anyone, I'm sure I would absolutely hammer him in a debate.
Yeah.
Just give me about a few hours prep, and I will beat him on constitutional law. I'm sure an American guy, and I'm not. We're British, born and bred, and but he's very smart and. He's a multi-billionaire for crying out loud. No matter what you say, he's got at least 1 billion. That counts for something.
The resources are probably endless as well.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. And so he's got smart people working for him. They know exactly what they're doing. And I think they're gonna maneuver. If not win, it's gonna be very close this general election.
So putting this back into context, how smart is he when it comes to politics?
What are his politics? Nothing. I'm gonna build a wall. What kind of politics?
Question answered, I guess.
And he's going to get Mexico to pay for it.
There's no politics. Because, why is there no politics? Because he's not spoke about politics. If he wanted to speak about politics, he would. Yeah. But he knows that's not what resonates. People aren't concerned with politics. They're there for a show. Exactly. They're there to be entertained.
Playing on politics again.
Exactly, yeah.
Shaking up the world.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened in this country. Probably after that, everyone's like, yeah, David Cameron, he's the man.
Yeah.
We're going to vote for him next time because he knows how to take that piss out of someone.
You think David Cameron took a leaf out of Donald Trump's book?
Yeah, possibly. But David Cameron is a very smart individual. You can't really accuse him of being an idiot the way you can.
He's so smart, he put a pig... Oh, sorry.
Let's not go into that.
Is it today, the South Carolina Democratic?
Yeah, the South Carolina primary for the Democratic side is very interesting. It's actually today, and Bernie Sanders versus Hillary Clinton. The big question is, where does the black vote go? Because there's a lot of African Americans there. Which side are they going to go on? A lot of them have been falling for Hillary Clinton's polemic. But what happened is some of the academics, Michelle Alexander and Dr. Cornel West came out and they said, wait, she's the one who called black people, serial predators?
Yeah.
See, she called them serial predators.
Predator.
And also, it was because of the policies that her and her husband instituted back in the 90s is why so many people are incarcerated today. So many African Americans are in prison today because of her. So she's not for black people. She's not pro African American. Bernie Sanders, on the other hand, what he does is he's not trying to make it about African Americans. He's saying, look, all of us as one people, we all need to help each other and everyone, and we can't make it a black thing or a white thing or whatever. So it's kind of 50-50. The thing is, Bernie Sanders isn't willing to play the game. He's not going to pull these funny moves. Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, she's willing to play the game. She's willing to bullshit.
Yeah,
she doesn't mind lying.
Two-faced.
Yeah, just a snake. What happened?
So she's a real politician.
She's a real politician. And a lot of African Americans on Twitter have a hashtag saying, which Hillary, ? As in, which one are you? Are you the one from years ago where it's because of you that black people are incarcerated? Or are you the one today pretending to be in favour of black people? Pick a side, please.
Did you see that girl who did a protest? against Hillary Clinton. She held up that banner.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly where it was, but that was interesting.
She actually paid, her and her friend paid $500 to get in,
Yeah.
just to do that protest.
Yeah.
And what did the thing say?
We have to take them to heel, something like that?
Yes, we need to bring them to
need
heel
to bring them to
because
heel, yeah.
she had said the super predators, as in black people, kids, we need to bring them to heel. You know, it's a very powerful statement. We need to sort them out.
Yeah.
You know, we need to get rid of them, or you know, something. So she said, "Look, I am not a super predator. I am not a super predator."
Why did he say this? Why did he say? She's like, I'm going to tell you, and then doesn't tell her.
And not only that, when the Secret Service come in and kick that black lady out, Hillary Clinton says, "Let's get back to the issues now," as if it's not even an issue.
Problem, yeah.
So if the African American vote still goes to Hillary Clinton, I would be shocked.
People say that Bernie Sanders is not electable. How is he not electable and Hillary Clinton is electable?
So you know that's all coming from establishment media,
Exactly.
because he wasn't electable in May last year because the polls were saying he's got no chance, but the polls today are saying he's gonna win.
It's the same stuff that they say about Jeremy Corbyn here.
Yeah.
He's not electable.
Yeah. So
Yeah, whatever. Explain it.
Is it because they're not willing to play the game, like you said?
No, one thing is that they're not willing to play the game. The other thing is that nobody really knew much about Bernie Sanders in May. Now they do, and now the message resonates. And I think it'll be the same with Mr. Corbyn as well. That once the message starts to resonate, once he starts to get out there in a few years' time, people will say, you know, this might be the man for us. Maybe.
Anyway, on that note, thanks for coming, Harry.
No problem.
And we will see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
See ya.